Hello everyone, my name is Jason and I work in the support department here at ScreenScape Networks. The session I'm going to do here today will focus on creating and publishing content within a single venue account. The first thing I'm going to do here today is I'm going to log into the account. And once I get logged in, the very first thing you're going to see is how the screen is going to look on the main view. So as soon as you log in, the first thing you're going to be prompted to do is to add an actual piece of content. Now with that being said, I'm going to go over this step in a moment, so I'm just going to close this for now. This is where your content is going to be laid out as you start creating content. You're going to be able to see the content name, who created it, which would be this account, how long the content is going to play on the display, the duration, and the last time the content was actually updated on. So first of all, basically where I want to start is creating one piece of content to add to my display. What I do first of all is I go to the Create Content tab. I simply click on it. Now we actually go ahead and categorize our templates. So as of right now you can see that there's several categories: images, media RSS feeds, RSS, text, video, weather, and YouTube. If I want to find the newest actual templates, what I can do is I can go up to the search option right here and I can type in new. Once I do that, I select search, and all the newest templates that we've created and submitted to our template gallery show up right here. Now all I need to do is simply select the template to use here. I'm not quite sure what I want to create yet, but I think I'm going to create something maybe that goes along with Prince Edward Island. So maybe something for Anne of Green Gables. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look around just to see what I can find for templates. Now you can go through each template and check them out as you wish. However, if you go ahead and kind of look at one of the templates, you can see, I might actually look at this one. There's a little preview button in the top right hand corner. If I click on this preview, it actually shows me exactly what is going to be incorporated into this piece of content for my display. So what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and select Customize here. And this is going to allow me to go ahead and make this piece of content. So as of right now, the first thing that it's asking me for is an image. So ScreenScape provides the actual image that you can upload over the one that we have here. So when I click on Select Image, the first thing that pops up is my asset library. Now the asset library, this is definitely something that is important for ScreenScape, because this is where your assets are actually housed and held, so you can add them to your displays. Now I can select one of these to add to my display, or if I didn't have a picture in here that I actually wanted to use for this piece of content I'm adding, I can click on Upload Image. When I do that, the information comes up here from my local PC that I'm on to upload the image as I wish. Because I'm going to be adding another image that I already have in my asset library, I'm simply going to go ahead and click right on here. So once I click on the picture, it's going to add to the actual background, and from here I can go ahead and edit this image. Now I see that there is white bars along the side here. What I'm going to do is I can actually use our cropping tool to make this image fit in the window. So I'm simply going to go ahead and drag this corner down here like so, and you can see how it grays out a portion of the screen. Now I can take this in the middle and I can move it around as well. So I want to move this until there's no white areas in the image at all. So there we are. So now this should act as my background for my piece of content. Now it's asking me for the logo here, and it's great to be able to see a little preview as how this is going to play, because I know that this portion right here is going to come out showing another piece of information that I want to broadcast. So I'm going to click on Select Image, and if I did not have an image already uploaded that I want to use, like I said before, I can upload the image on the fly. However, what I'll do is I'm simply going to click right here. I have an Anne of Green Gables book that I want to make sure comes up here. So I can go ahead and simply crop this a bit, just so there's no white area. And if there is a little bit, it's not going to matter too much, because I can tell that the background here is white, so this should fit in nicely. So now that I scroll down, I can actually see the text that I'm able to put in here. So if I was a bookstore and I was selling this Anne of Green Gables complete edition, I could simply go ahead and type in the text that I wanted to. You're going to be able to see the text show up right along here. So I'm going to type in the text that I wish. I'm simply going to say Anne of Green Gables complete edition now available. text is completed, I can simply scroll down a little further. You can change the duration on how long you want a piece of content to play. So from 10 to 60 seconds is your option. So I'm just going to leave it at 30. And last but not least, you can change the text color. So something instead of yellow, I'm simply going to go ahead and choose red, something that's going to show up very nicely, and I'll select next. Now what this does is it actually goes ahead and creates this content, and it's going to show me how it's going to look. So once the display comes up, here's what you're going to see. So you can actually click on the play button here, and you can play just how it's going to play on your display. So that's a very nice picture of Prince Edward Island in the background, the complete Anne of Green Gables book right there to show it, and then the text to go along with it. If I'm happy with this piece of content, I can simply go ahead and give it a name. This name is so I'm able to manage this content later on, so I'm just going to call it Anne. Now if I wanted to, I could simply click on Save and save this piece of content, or I could actually schedule it to play whenever I wish. So if I click on Schedule right here, this actually allows me to schedule this piece of content to run on my display whenever I want it to. So if I go ahead and select Never, this content will never play in my playlist. Always means it'll always be playing. Or Sometimes, meaning that I can set the schedule to play it whenever I wish. So right now it's set from July 23rd to August 23rd for a 1-month period, 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. during the day. And if I wanted to, I could actually go ahead and select all days of the week, like you're seeing here, or I could deselect Saturday and Sunday. So that way it only plays during the week. If I'm happy with my schedule the way it's set, I can simply click on OK. Now once I select Save, this piece of content gets added to my actual list right here. But the thing is, there's one thing I have left to do to actually complete this, and that's to publish this piece of content. So as of right now, if I go ahead and I put a check mark right beside this box, I go up to Actions, and I can simply select Publish. Once I do that, it lets me know the content is now published. And now when I click on the Publish tab, you're going to be able to see your piece of content listed here. And as you add more content, each piece of content is going to be listed underneath here like a playlist. And that's actually what I'll do right now, is I'll add another piece of content just to show you how that looks. So I'll go back to the Create tab. The asset library that we were speaking of regarding adding pictures to your display, you can access that even without going through your templates if you want. If you click up here on Assets, you have the option between image and video. So whatever images that you've added, simply go right here. It looks just like it did whenever you opened it up in the template. And you can also upload images directly from here as well. Okay. Now I'm going to create another piece of content. And this piece of content is going to be more so based around ScreenScape. I'm going to pretend that I'm creating this piece of content to show up on my display for when customers are coming into my venue. So the first thing I'm going to do here is click on Create Content. I'm going to type in New, as I want to see the newest templates, of course. That's a great idea, simply because ScreenScape's always putting out new templates. They're always adding new ideas to our templates. So feel free to type in New and browse our templates anytime you log in. Now what I'm going to be doing here now is I'm going to go ahead and add a piece of content. And it's going to have a background with an image as well as another image in the picture. So I'm going to go ahead and just look for a piece of content here to represent ScreenScape, and it's an ad to welcome people. So I'm going to actually select this one right here. It looks like a nice image, and it kind of looks like how I want to have it. It's simply just a background image with an image on the right, followed by some text. So it's kind of similar to the template I just created, where you can incorporate all three pieces of information into the template. So the first thing is the background image. All I want to be able to do here is click on Select Image, and I want to be able to select something that pertains to my venue. So here's my ScreenScape group picture. I'm going to go ahead and just crop this so that I can go ahead and fit the whole thing in the background. Next, the right image. Now, here's what I want to add a logo or some type of information that people are going to know that it's ScreenScape. So this is my ScreenScape logo listed right here. If I want to go ahead and just click on this once, This adds to the actual display. I can actually go ahead and crop this a little bit too if I want to just move it around. That way it's going to fit properly on the screen and look good. And last but not least, I'm actually going to just type in here ScreenScape along with our motto. ScreenScape, engage your audience. So once I have that typed in here, I can select a different text color if I wish. White is actually going to look alright with how the background is, so I'm simply going to select next. Once this piece of content saves, once this piece of content is built, I'm able to actually save it then. So I can see how it's going to look here. You can see that the animations come together. Okay, it's a nice little welcome message for anybody that will be coming into my venue, which is ScreenScape. I'm simply just going to call it ScreenScape and select Save. Now I can tell the difference between a piece of content that is published, being the AN template, and one that is not, which is ScreenScape. And how I can tell this right away is simply underneath the display category here. AN is actually showing as published. ScreenScape is not. So in order to publish the ScreenScape piece of content, I can simply put a check mark in the box, go up to the top under Actions, and select Publish. And that's all there is to it. I'm going to add one more piece of content before I end this session. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select Create Content one more time. I'll go up here and I'm going to type in New, as I want to use the newest templates. And once I hit Search, I'm just going to look for an actual template. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up for a local news story, basically where the old general store is closing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for a template that has some text I can type in, along with a nice background image that I could use as well. And this actually looks like one right here. So if I click the preview, you can see that it's a nice little background image, logo. There's also the text that I want. So I'm going to select Customize. Now that I'm here, I can simply go ahead, and before I put in the text, I'm going to enter my background image. The image that I'm going to select is the general store. Now what I'm going to do is I'm simply going to say the general store is closing, okay? I'm going to say, please come down and say goodbye to an old friend. And the source, I could say it's The Guardian, which is Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island's local newspaper. The date would be today's date, July 23rd, 2013. So now that I have my image incorporated in the background, I have the text that I'd like to enter in for the display. I can then go ahead and scroll down. Now the logo itself, I do not have to include this. If you ever see where it says logo toggle, you can select visible or hidden. So I'm simply just going to hide this, okay? And the text color I'd like to use, I'm simply going to go with white. I'll just leave it as white. I could change whatever color I wished. I'll leave it as white. When I select next, I can actually see how it's going to look. It's going to play me a little preview, building my content, and it's going to show up just like so. So it's a nice way to see the text behind my background image. I can simply call this General Store. Once I select Save, it gets added to my playlist. I simply go ahead and publish it by clicking here, going to Actions, selecting Publish. Now that I've got 3 pieces of content listed here, when I click on Publish, you can see how it's going to look. Like I said before, you can mix and match, so if I wanted to move these pieces of content around, I can simply do so by dragging and dropping. And with that, guys, that is a short session on how to create and publish content with ScreenScape Networks. Hope everybody enjoyed it. Please stay tuned in the future for other product demonstrations that we're going to be doing and adding to our YouTube channel. We look forward to meeting with you and going over the software. Have a great day.